And welcome to the Glacially Musical podcast. It is beer, metal, and swearing. Of course, I am Nick Cameron of Glacially Musical, joined by my good friend, a man who's always proud of his roots, never shy to tell you where he's from, Keefy Chowder.
Clam chowder, kid.
I hate that food.
I love that. Clam chowder is the best.
I see a hand.
The secret hand. It's like the black
It was
thing.
Sting.
Black Adams
Thing.
Family. That would be a great cartoon, by the way. Black Adams Family.
I would watch that. I would watch that.
I'm going to say hello, Omar. You've been referenced already in the fucking show. I already cursed. Just say hi.
Black Adams Family. I don't know about that one, bro.
Bye, Omar.
Bye, Omar.
That was fun. That was fun. Anyway,
in trouble already.
If you're here for Cannibal Corpse 2, awesome. Thank you. Glad to see you. Here's how we do. Beer chat, greeting, beer, vinyl, news, roll. Beer of the day, STL IPA. Probably should not be drinking this, but I'm gonna. Pint glass. Glacially Musical pint glass. Smells delicious. Keefy, go.
All right. I should not be drinking another massive beer, but here's one of my favorite beers of all time.
That's
Stella
barely beer.
Artois. It's barely beer.
Barely beer. Oh,
I went to the Stella factory in Amsterdam, and it was rad.
I bet it tasted better.
Pop. Got to hear
Steal that
pop.
microphone.
And I'm gonna drink it out of Omar's Slurpee 7-Eleven Roddy Piper All-Stars cup because again he's straight edge and doesn't know what a beer glass is.
Not again. It's for the first time.
Down the middle, you can't see it, but I imagine it. Almost the whole beer is gonna.
That is hysterical. It's in a Slurpee glass. It's in a big gulp. You're drinking beer out of a big gulp.
This is the greatest moment of my entire life, including when I first heard "Ride the Lightning" or "Touch the Boob."
Cheers, my friend. Sir. I have a vinyl check for you.
Cool.
I am rocking Parliament. Claims clones of Dr. Funkenstein. But when I put it on the turntable, I started recognizing songs that are not on this album. What it actually is, if you can't see, which you can't, this is actually Mothership Connection in a clones of Dr. Funkenstein sleeve. For those of us who are fans of the Parliament, Mothership Connection is the number one Duke of New York Parliament record. And I don't have any Parliament, so I don't know how I feel just now, because that is the album that I had in my hand months ago that I did not buy at $17. And I walked away from it, and I should not have walked away from it because it is a very expensive record. So I need to track down a case, I guess, but it won't be proper. It'll be a Frankenstein. It's a better record than Clones of Dr. Funkenstein, so I don't know how I feel. But I did listen to it, and it's amazing. Because you know what? They give up the funk.
They tear the roof off that sucker.
And they talk about cocaine a lot.
Did your ass follow when they freed your mind?
Well, that's George Clinton, not Parliament. And
all together to me.
My ass is already free. Atomic Dog, bow wow wow, yippee-o, yippee-o, which is also George Clinton. However, I don't know how I feel. I'm still working out my feelings.
Okay. Fair enough. Is that a single or a deuce for you?
I got a single this week.
Okay, single for me also. I, again, on the black metal theme, went to see Mizmor this past week, and Unrequited was the middle band of a 3-band bill, and this is Mosaic 2 Electric Boogaloo. No, it's Mosaic 2 French name I can't pronounce. La Deteste et le Distresse, I guess. I don't know. Sorry, I failed French. Again, this is the gatefold, but only one vinyl. Very nice, very nice. And there's the back with the song titles. Also, a fairly short-ish record in terms of song tracks. It did come, let's see, no mylar. It does have a sleeve. This is not lyrics, but it's a sleeve for the vinyl. Mm-hmm. This will go kind of unused, but okay. And then it came in the paper sleeve. I'll swap out any paper sleeves I have once I return home to the Bay Area. Probably not for a while. But here's this beautiful vinyl. I'm not gonna lie, this is my favorite Unrequited record already. It already was, but then it's also the purple sleeve and this beautiful. Is this wine?
You're in a darkened set, so I don't know specifically. However, I will tell you that it looks like Chris Barnes sings about on the next record.
It's a little blood. It's a little fuchsia.
Looks like he came blood.
It's possible. That's my vinyl check, sir.
We are off the rails. Awesome. Shirt check. Barishi. Once again. Great band. Sasha flips, do the business, not in the band anymore.
Sasha's not in the band anymore. He's in Epicenter. Mizmor with the tour dates on the back. Gray, not black. Got a new. I rarely buy shirts, but when I do, I'm trying not to buy all black. And then for the hat check, Wayne's World.
Party time.
Excellent.
When I had longer hair, people told me I look like Mike Myers.
Frankly,
I never saw it.
I can totally see it.
Well, we're both we're both North Americans of Scottish descent with redheaded parents.
Let me ask you a question. Shitty Beatles, is that just a great name or is it accurate? They suck. Then it's not just a clever name.
I don't remember that.
All right then. Meatloaf is the bouncer at the Gasworks. And he's like, who's on tonight? Crucial Taunt and the Shitty Beatles. And he's like, do they suck? Are they really shitty? He's like, they suck.
I haven't seen the Wayne's World flicks in a long time.
It's time for maybe when I come there.
I was the coolest kid on the bus, the activities bus that went to my suburb because I had a copy of the Queen album on cassette that had Bohemian Rhapsody on it in 1991. Complete happy accident. I just asked for a Queen album.
I just want to mention again, I'm setting my empty Stella Artois can now that the entire Slurpee cup is full of beer with my relatively brand new Ghost Cult coaster. If you want a coaster with culty on it, comment culty in the comments of this video and I will give you, or the podcast when we share it, and I will give you one. I'll send you one in the mail.
All the free shit. Well, one free shit. I have no news.
I have two newses. I kind of forgot one already because I'm tipsy. Metallica week 3 of the tour is this week.
Metallica is not news. Metallica is a department.
It's a whole. Maybe it's almost time for the Pink Floyd department, the Metallica department, the Vinnie Vincent department. Much to my chagrin.
Been asking.
Metallica week 3, Arlington, Texas, Friday and Sunday, and Pantera shows around that, solo shows. They're also, this weekend is the Metallica movie takeover globally. Watch the Arlington concerts or watch, live-ish in movie theaters around the globe. Go to Trafalgar. Is that right?
Trafalgar.
Nick always corrects me. Trafalgar Releasing is your website. Trafalgar. Is it from a square in London? I think that's where the name comes from. Yes,
Trafalgar Square.
And so, you can watch Metallica in the movies with all your friends. 2 nights, 2 different set lists, live. If you can't get to the M72 tour, I did the album release. I might reunite with my former band, Salty Boons, that Omar is also in. And I might reunite with them for a hang and maybe watch the Metallica movie Friday, not sure. Here in New York City, where I am at currently. So, that's
I do have a news item.
Go right ahead.
Happy to announce our next episode will be a bonus drop of the Glacially Musical podcast. This drops on your usual Friday, Saturday weekendish time. And then in a couple of days, we are going to drop an interview with one of the greatest rappers of our time, Mega Ran.
He was mega nice.
He was mega nice.
He really was. He's a wonderful guy. And a talented dude, and he's got a new record coming out. We're going to talk about all the things. All the things. It's not going to be a therapy session for Nick and Keith. Yes, it is. And it was great. I think it was great. I think we did great. I
tried not to talk so much.
Hey,
I did better.
You better. Yeah, try better. Anyway,
better but bad.
I'd like to get us both a kill switch. Like this microphone has a kill switch. You see me reaching over to kill it.
I got one on my mic.
Yeah, you should use it more. Anyway. I felt like I had a second news item. Did we talk about Maiden last week?
No.
So, really quick, Iron Maiden is teasing some news, and what I think it's going to be is either a new album and tour or just another world tour.
Live
After
album.
they play Power Trip, well, that would track also. After they play the Power Trip Festival, they are going to make a big announcement within a few days of that. So that is the announcement before the announcement, which I hate, but like
Pre-announcements.
pre-announcement, pre-unneeded. Not sure if there's anything else, so we'll just move it along.
I would hope that would not be a live album, because Iron Maiden has released a live album from basically every tour for the past 25 years.
They have.
So
But
it's
that's only
basically
been like 5 records.
no. Brave, Dance, Matter.
Brieg.
What?
Oh, Matter, Life and Death.
Yeah. Frontier, Book.
Not Benjamin Brieg.
No, that Benjamin Bree was on A Matter of Life and Death.
Oh, is that? Yeah, there's like
There's 7. They've 7 records.
It's such a long song. It feels like its own thing.
Yeah, I don't like that album. Yeah, the songs are too long.
So 7 records in 25 years. Anyway,
That's pretty good.
I guess it's probably better than Metallica, but so
that's good for anybody.
what else is out there? Anthrax is hoping to have their record out in 2024.
And Scott Ian just got a custom guitar from Jackson, which is a mock-up of the Eddie Van Halen Frankenstein. So he was very excited about that.
He loves Eddie Van Halen, so that makes a lot of sense.
We all do.
And we all do. And I'm trying to, is there anything else?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Let us move on, if you don't mind. We will now catch up. Oh,
I'm just thinking out loud. Did we do all the checks? I guess we did.
We did the checks.
Definitely drunker than you for a change.
We haven't done the hip checks, but we'll leave those for next week.
Or check.
Mm-hmm. Four check, back check, paycheck. So now we're going to move on into Cannibal Corpse, their next album, Butchered at Birth, which Chris Barnes refers to as the very first death metal concept record. However, I would make the argument that every death metal record is a death metal concept record, because they all talk about death and murderousness and awful things. They're very thematic. It's kind of like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. But so it's 1991. They've toured. They have gone back into the studio. They have returned to Morris Sound Studios. I am going to correct Nick and Keefy from previous weeks, which is the previous week, where we said they had already moved from Buffalo to Tampa Bay. That was incorrect. At this point, Cannibal Corpse is still based out of Buffalo. However, they go to Tampa Bay in order to record their records due to the aforementioned previous week of Morris Sound Studios. Now, I'm going to point out, before we even get to the track by track, which I'm going to need Keefy to lean heavily on this week, they still haven't quite figured out the blast beat yet. They're getting there, but it's not there. But it's still a great studio. They still made a great record, great production. Now, 1991. Let's talk about what's happening in 1991. This is the year the Oakland A's win their only world championship. Is that correct? No, that is not correct. They won it in 90. They lose it to the Reds. 91 is kind of a bland year. I mean, usually I've got some historical.
I'm gonna say Desert Storm.
Desert Storm's over.
Giants win the Super Bowl in January. It's not bland to me.
I did. I was actually a fan of the Giants for that year. I had a Giants sweatshirt.
Really?
I really did.
Surprising. Jeff Hostetler ends up winning the title because Sims goes down with an injury.
Hey, Phil Simms is the man. Jeff Hostetler just got lucky.
I love Phil Simms. I mean, Jeff Hostetler was a great athlete. He wasn't just lucky.
I know.
Biggie superstar.
I was a big fan of Phil Simms, number 11 at that time. So.
Phil Simms was one of my
at this time. St. Louis did not have an NFL team, and I wanted to root for somebody.
Cardinals were good though. They lost to the Reds.
I don't care. Oh, the baseball Cardinals?
Yeah, not the football Cardinals.
No, they weren't good in 91.
They weren't. I definitely saw the Yankees, who lost like 100 games that year. I watched a 11-inning no-hitter loss. By the way, like speaking of unbelievable, like, I have been to another no hitter. I can always talk about my perfect games, but I have been to that. I did see a no hitter.
If I'd
in
been to
extra
any
innings.
perfect games, I wouldn't mention any no hitter because fuck those. I mean, perfect game. There's been like 80 total
There's been
forever.
perfect game 24. I will let you touch me on the arm when I see you in person. In about 2.5 months, 3 months.
Is that where you threw the perfect game? What are we talking about here?
Throw the game. I was just at the game.
Oh, fair enough.
So touch
Okay,
me.
all right, Cartman. Who wants to fucking touch me?
You want to touch me? I saw the terms I fell away. Screw you guys. I'm getting him.
We probably shouldn't do 2 episodes in a day and ever again.
You probably never. I should. Yeah. I should. I'm gonna go do laundry after this and go eat a sub.
So
from Zo's Deli.
in 91, Brett Hull scores 86 goals, which is the second highest total of all time.
Rangers are pretty bad at this time.
Yeah, a couple of years before they won the cup. It's a really future former Blue, just like half of the Rangers of this era. Frankly, this is just a boring time. 1991. The only thing going on is the election. Ross Perot is coming up, which is the first legitimate attempt at a third party to win the presidency since Abraham Lincoln.
I mean, not really, but I know what you mean. He legitimately, yeah. He had enough money, not enough votes.
No, he had it until he screwed it up. When he pulled out, he lost it.
Careful there. I think Bill pulled out before Ross pulled out. Hey, he pulled out and pulled off. But let's talk
Keefy's
about.
filter is broken.
By the way, do you feel like Ross Perot was the inspiration for Hank Hill's dad on King of the Hill?
Yes.
All right then.
Short, big ears, talks like this. Yes, Ross. That is Ross Perot, and only once over against as smart as Ross Perot. That's a little English. That's a little English axioms. But let's talk about death metal. So, who is right now we are still dealing with the Genesis, the Alpha. We have yet to meet the Omega. Obviously, Glenn Benton is back again to help out with the Cannibal Corpse. So Deicide is up and running. Obituary, of course, is up and running. I believe we are on the dock of Morbid Angel going in to record the seminal Covenant. That is a 1992 record. So right now, we are seeing the sophomore records of the originators of the genre, the people that do it for real, not just kind of showed up and did it. Like recently I referenced the movie Cannibal the Musical in the previous episode. The South Park guys do not make musicals on the regular, but they did one. Larry Lalonde makes a death metal record, but that's not what Larry Lalonde does. Actually, he then joins a thrash band and then joins Primus, so that's a weird time for him. And so now we are at the point, the make it or break it point for an emerging genre. Is death metal real? Is death metal going to persist, or is this just a thing that kind of came and went? Is this punk rock? Is this grunge? Is this disco? Or is this blues rock? Is this speed metal? What is it? Thoughts?
Excellent, sir. Excellent. Once again, the greatest table setter of all time in the world, Nick Cameron.
We all gotta have a niche.
Death metal is really coming into its own, even though Nick feels it's a bland year. We've also had Immolation. We've also
I just mean the year. I'm trying to give the historical perspective.
I get it.
That's like my jam.
Yeah, I know. We had Suffocation's first record by now, because they're from New York, and I'm going to mention that. So yeah, I think the genre is really taking hold, and death is going through some transformations as well, where they're trying to elevate the genre.
I think this is where death metal takes root. What it was a weed, now it's a tree.
Legitimately fair. I think that's very fair, sir.
Oh, I got to talk again. Okay. So, I wasn't ready to talk.
No, that's fine. I can go a little
you
deeper.
go.
I
You
will
go.
say that. So getting ready to make their second record, Cannibal Corpse arrives with a whoosh, like a baby newborn into the world from a zombie vagina, and
Ew.
yeah, exactly, maggot ridden.
You know what? On brand.
Totally on brand. And they like everybody tries to outdo themselves, but what I think Cannibal Corpse went in attempting to do is actually not just outdo themselves, but separate themselves from the rest of the pack, which they already did on the first record on a variety of ways we expounded apart last week. If you should go check it out if you haven't heard it, and you're somehow randomly hearing this one.
Great episode
And
last week. Just going to point
great
that
episode.
out.
One of our best. There's no question. And this one, jury's out because of me. But
And me.
I think they really stepped up big time on the writing. Barnes already, as we said, was fully fledged on the first record. He's just more of the same on this record.
He's better. He's still, I mean, performance-wise on Barnes, and he's going to ban us when we get to the Corpse Grinder record. He's going to block us on all. Look, I've tagged him in a couple of things because I want to get blocked by him. Because I haven't been blocked by Chris Barnes yet. And apparently that's like the badge of honor for heavy metal Twitter. So I suck ass, apparently. But so when we get to Corpse Grinder and we praise Corpse Grinder, there we go. Block. That's going to happen. But he is still, frankly, amazing. I mean, at this point in time, he is still better than anything Glenn Benton ever becomes, anything Jeff Fisher ever becomes, anything any of these people ever become. The depth and breadth of his voice and his vocals are amazing. The biggest change I saw in this is the guitar work changes. The guitar work starts moving into more of the standard death metal that we know now. We begin to get a lot of the really chuggy riffs. The sludginess of the first record is 100% gone. There's nothing mid-tempo. It is now up-tempo or fast. The drums, we get maybe 3 or 4 tracks of the 11 that have the classic Tampa Bay Morrisound drums, where you get the thundering snare drum, the in your face, in your ear hole, stick up your nose kind of snare. Everybody knows what I mean. Where we get a bit of a lull is what Morrisound is known for, is recording the bass drum. And we don't have enough of that drum presence yet. It's coming. Their next record will have it. Everybody's next record will have it. Because if you think about Covenant, if you think about Legion, if you think about Obituary's third record, which the name escapes me at the moment, you can picture those drums that you hear them. They're so powerful. You can hear, you can feel the Marshall stacks shaking on either side of the drums. I got that feeling actually on the High on Fire live record, that they did such a great job recording that, even though they're not death metal. But death metal is still embryonic. Well, it's not embryonic. It is now newborn. We had an embryonic death metal last week. We have newborn death metal this week. Next week, we're going to have adolescent death metal. It grows in leaps and bounds.
Teenage death metal.
I guess really it never goes past teenage.
Just so we don't lose all our credibility, the third record by Obituary is The End Complete.
Thank you. I don't know the order of the Obituary records. I have a 6 CD box set. I have several of their later records on vinyl. I don't have any of the early stuff on vinyl. On my vinyl, Obituary is much later.
Slowly We Rot, Cause of Death, End Complete. 1, 2, 3. It's insane how many of these records are just unbelievable. And again, when you have a new genre, there's a lot of ceiling to keep reaching for. And I will say, I don't want to sound like an apologist. We're not here to say that Paul Mazurkowicz's drumming is any less than stellar on these first 2 records.
Correct.
I don't think the drum recording, because the emphasis was so much on capturing these gutturals and capturing these gnarly guitar works, that I think the drums, I don't want to say suffered as extreme, but didn't shine as brightly.
Think about, okay, here I'm gonna Metallica this up a little bit. Now picture,
Because that's what we do here. We Metallica everything up.
or Pink Floyd it. So think about Metallica's One, right? Think about the double bass line. Now, obviously, Metallica never did blast beats, but think about the part of One, right? When you think about the studio version, it's perfect. It's exactly what Metallica is, right? Now think about a live version of that song, and the drums overpower. The double bass line of that overpowers. That's the difference. The double bass recording, the drum recording on this album is like the 1988 recording of And Justice for All, when we expect it to sound like the 1992 recording of Covenant, because that's what the genre calls for.
Allow me to again keep us historically accurate and say that, as we all know, the double bass, iconic double bass riff from the end of One by Metallica was lifted, completely stolen by Lars Ulrich from Gene Hoglan from Darkness Descends by Dark Angel 3 years earlier. I yield my time.
Spectacular. Nobody said Metallica didn't ever lift. You know, Metallica is the modern day Led Zeppelin, as Lon Friend put it, which is the smartest thing he ever said, which is also accurate as fuck. But I think we have nothing more to do besides pitter patter.
Have you ever heard me talk about how much I love Lon Friend?
No.
No, I
don't
love Lon
like
Friend
him.
so much. You don't like him, huh?
No, I would probably like him better if I read his stuff.
I read Rip Magazine religiously. We should probably, I should reread and you should read for the first time Life on Planet Rock by Lon Friend, and then we should do a chaser on it.
Look, he's probably way better than I think he is. He never came across well in interviews or on Year and a Half. And that's what I know him from.
He's overexposed because he was on MTV a lot. He started showing up in video, like in the music videos. It's like, bro, you're blurring a line a little in a way that kind of betrays what you're good at.
Correct. But let's pitter patter and get at her, track by track. I hope you have the songs.
I have it ready. I have the track by track ready. Let's
just
do this.
A lot of my my contribution here is going to be me hearing the song for the first time and reacting, hearing the song title, because I did not look them up.
Okay, that's kind of weak, but fine.
Call me a wimp. See if I care.
The album opens with the possibly overlong but good Meat Hook Sodomy.
Yeah, I saw that one, and holy mother, wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how you even do that. I'm trying to picture how this works. Does the meat hook go in hook first and you wrap it around? Or does the meat hook go in like all the way like this? You see what I mean? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to know. All of this is terrifying. The song, this one is what, about 250 if memory serves?
Almost 6 minutes long.
Oh, Jesus
I said it was overlong from the beginning.
Yeah,
it's got an intro, which Nick doesn't like, but it is part of the track.
Yeah,
so at least it's an intro that kind of sounds like they stole it from Slayer.
This is the one. Yeah. It's very
you almost could hear like it's the backwards guitar loop, and you could almost hear
no. It's Raining Blood.
That's right, Raining Blood.
Raining Blood.
Well, no, Raining Blood has the drums, so it's not Raining
something,
Blood,
but it's still that build, that ethereal, like backwards.
It's robbed from Slayer. Yeah, it's robbed from Slayer.
It's a Slayer pastiche.
The song is great though. It's great. It's like I said, it's a bit long, but it's proggy. It's like the beginning of the less straight ahead thing. Right away, they're setting a tone. The whole band is credited with writing all the tracks, so we don't have to attribute them. And all the lyrics are attributed to Barnes. They just let him, after dividing it up very equally on the first record and future records, they just let Barnes write all the lyrics on this one. They're like, go right ahead.
I mean, really, you should just let the vocalist write them if he wants to. Unless David Gilmour's your vocalist.
Uncalled for. I forgive you, though.
I'm just trying to get a rise, and I didn't even get one. So
I'm well
Omar, cut this.
Omar cut this. Omar's not cutting anything. Omar's at the movies finally seeing Mission Impossible. He left. Next track,
Gutted. I did know that one. And now this track is a bit more. We are congealing. The wound is coming into the scab, and that scab is becoming death metal. We are almost there right here. That snare, that thunderous snare is here, and it's all over the record. This is the first time it really blows up in your face. You know, you've got that double bass, and you can hear it, but it lacks the power that we're going to get on the next record. That it's not as significant. That's it. The performance amazing, the recording not there yet.
Nobody ever talks about new genre, and the second record, new genre. Not the second record of the genre, but nobody ever talks about that Paul has a very pingy snare, by the way. That's okay. We still love him. Gutted they still play it. It remains in the set list for years. It is, a semi-shorty at 3:15, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. And I rather like this track. I think this is some of the best, definitely some of the best writing.
Definitely dig this one. This is good
this would have been a better opening track than Meat Hood Sodomy.
I agree. Meat Hood Sodomy with its length and its progressiveness, it's not the, ironically, song to get its hooks in you.
Oh, the third track is Living Dissection.
Jesus Christ, superstar. Go ahead.
Christ on a Bike. This is 4 minutes long. This is definitely brutal. Great lyrics and performance by Barnes. Probably one of my favorite Barnes performances on here. There's 3 or 4 of them that are just superstar level, upper echelon death metal vocals at this stage of the game. And no other complaints or notes about this very, very technical, shreddy.
Yeah, should point out a great solo on this one. I mean, the riffing is great. We are now getting into the death metal breakdowns, which we had basically none of on the first record. So again, when I mentioned in the previous track that the genre is congealing, Cannibal Corpse is at the epicenter of the genre. They're taking it in and they are making it part of what they do.
I think you have Carcass on your mind because you started to called Jeff Walker Jeff Fisher earlier, so I know you have Carcass on.
Oh my God, did I?
You totally did. I didn't stop you.
But I brought it up later. While I was waiting for you to pop up, I put on the Carcass EP.
Pop up! Is this forgetting Sarah Marshall? Pop up! No, that's not it at all. You totally did it wrong. Do less. No, that's too little. Now you're just laying down. Anyway, the fourth track is Under the Rotted Flesh. And now the record is starting to really sail. This is a great track. It's also 5 minutes long. Unlike the first track, doesn't feel that long. Feels like it's over quickly. Love the bass line, love the rhythm section. Cannibal Corpse has an actual death metal rhythm section, which I can only say that about a couple of bands.
Yeah, for the most part, the bass just plays whatever the root note is of the chord they're playing, and once every 8 to 7 notes they hit one. It's just what it is.
The other band I'm thinking of is Suffocation. But anyway, yeah, Under the Rotted Flesh, very good song. Any other thoughts?
Under the Rotted Flesh, I'm going to point out that the previous track, 4 minutes to 5 minutes, is about the maximum length you should be playing for an old school death metal track, because it's kind of like the Kiss formula, man. I don't know that Kiss did this, but keep it simple, stupid. An old friend of mine once described that, Kiss is the greatest band for intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, verse, outro. That's death metal. That is death. It's not, for the vast majority of the artists, it's not proggy. Go in, hit it hard, do something cool, whip out a shred, cut off a head, get out of town. You don't want to be caught. You don't want to be caught with the body.
Fair enough. Arguably, the top 3 song on this record is Covered with Sores.
Wow. Okay.
No, don't agree?
No, I'm just saying Covered with. I mean, I haven't read the titles. I listened to this at work, and then I listened to it on the way home while I was driving.
Piece of advice for you for next week: don't do this. What you did. Anyway, Covered with Sores is amazing. It's really short. I did it last week. Did you? Oh man, it's really short.
3 minutes. That's the right number.
It's nice.
3 minutes
It's
is perfect. for
nice
death
and
metal.
groovy. Still a beloved song in the fan base. I think I saw a cover with Source Patch once. Might have been DIY, but like so cool. Such a good song. I wish they were all like this, short and killer.
Yeah, and that's what death metal. That is death metal perfection. It do not overstay your welcome. And this is the second record in a row where they're at the 36-minute mark. 36 minutes for death metal and Ace Frehley is the right number.
Why are you bringing him up now? Come on, we were so good a whole episode without a Kiss reference. Come on.
How many episodes without a Kiss reference can we really do?
None.
There we go.
The fan favorite, "Vomit the Soul" featuring Glenn Benton is next. Great track.
Yeah, and this is the first time I ever heard Glenn Benton on these tracks because he was on 2 or 3 the previous record, and I didn't notice. This time I noticed his backing vocals as the call and response. We got full on Glenn Benton where he has nailed it.
He might be better as a guest star than he is on his own albums. I know that's blasphemy to you, but I don't know.
Next track, title track, Butchered at Birth.
Butchered at Birth, man. Just short and to the point.
And you know what? Here we as this record goes on, one of the things we talked about when we did the Metallica series forever ago, which was one of the first things we ever did together, how Metallica wrote vertically. And Cannibal Corpse really feels like they're doing the same thing because as each track on this record moves forward, the genre, because again, we're still, as we sit now, as I sit in front of my beautiful records, as I sit in my house, we are 35 years into a genre. As we are in the Wayback Machine, we are still we are just 3 or 4 weeks past proto death metal. We are still at 25 years after this, we start talking about checking the boxes for genre, for genre recognition. We're still they're still using a pencil to write the boxes. And as this record moves forward, each song is more and more, is closer and closer to what we consider to be old school death metal. So for me, each song gets better and better. We started to get that thing that I talked about last week, where you got that double picked melody line over the rhythm with the bass, then the double bass. That is something that Trey Azagoth of Morbid Angel does better than anyone. But nobody does it yet. He doesn't do it until the third record of Morbid Angel, even. It's not on Blessed Are the Sick. It's not on the first one. God, Abysmal? That's not right. Anyway.
Covenant is third. ABC.
Yeah, Covenant's third. What?
ABCD.
Yeah, what's the first one?
Fuck.
Altars of Madness.
I'm drunk, bro.
Altars of Madness.
Really, Jack Owen and Bob Rousset do not get enough credit for these early Cannibal records. They're not often talked enough about. Bob was out of the band shortly after Jack put this band on his back in these early records, and with Webster wrote a lot of these riffs. Let's talk about arguably the dumbest album title or song title of the band's early career, Rancid. Amputation, tied with Living Dissection for just meh.
You think that's worse than Meat Hook Sodomy?
I think Meat Hook Sodomy at least has got the cringe factor. That's why you don't like it. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable.
It does make me uncomfortable.
And these are lame. The song's not lame. The song is good.
Rancid Amputation is that's just World War II amputation.
I guess. Bite down on this thing while we chop your leg off in real time with no anesthetic.
And then you get the gangrene.
And then the gangrene, then you die.
Yeah.
I just felt like a jolt through my drunken bloodstream about gangrene, and then you die. But it's probably, is it safe to say this is one of the weaker songs on the album of any? There's not any weak songs, but it's
this album is there's nothing weak on this one. The only weakness is the weakness of the genre.
Let's say my least favorite song on the
That's fine.
Record.
Moving on into Innards Decay.
They close out strong.
Oh yeah, that is the. Oh, I thought there were 11 tracks on this. Sorry,
There are 9 on this, so we're not counting the bonus.
9 tracks on this. So if you do 9 by 36, you get 4. The best death metal records average no more than. I'm sorry. This is the reality of the genre.
This is Nick's empirical evidence, everybody.
Name the best Tampa Bay death metal record. Wrong. It's Covenant.
It's Death Human. But I mean, are they technically Tampa Bay when they started getting people from other places? And Chuck is not from Florida that much. All right. Innards Decay, good way to close out the album. Another longie, but not too bad. Heavy as hell.
And we get the good drums here.
Well, again, I don't think it's good or bad. I just think it's the sound. They're not there yet with recording.
I'm talking. Okay, you get the good recording of the drums. You get the proper drum sound. Excuse me.
I think I would say, yeah, the record finishes strong. Overall, Butchered Birth is a classic. I think it's a B tier record, maybe a high B if you really like.
How did you rate Eaten Back to Life?
I think Eaten Back to Life is a 10 because it's groundbreaking. It's so unique and
so you're giving
so many. There's so many firsts on that Eaten Back to Life. There's so many firsts. It has to be with a bullet and an S.
So you're giving that record you're giving
a 9 or a 10.
You're giving the music a boost due to the pioneering effort.
Has to be. That's the criteria.
That's fair.
Honestly,
I think this record is better.
Okay, maybe in a couple of areas.
I enjoyed
Butchered
at Birth more.
That's fair. You're allowed. We're late making our feelings known. I have a novel idea. I'm going to take a page from your book and just drag this out a few more minutes longer. And we're going to talk about live because we haven't done that yet. Cannibal Corpse live. We barely talked about it.
We should have talked more about it.
We should have. This album, Butchered at Birth, comes out on July 1st. So right in time for Hot Dogs in America and a summer tour. The very first performance following the release of the record is at Milwaukee Metal Fest in July of 1991 on July 27th. They are one of the headliners of the festival in only their, fourth year as a band.
Yeah.
The fourth or fifth year as a band, and the third Milwaukee Metal Fest. So
third year as a band.
I'm gonna 88 before 88. They were technically still forming a band in 87. So
they formed according to Wiki, which I trust implicitly.
You shouldn't.
Formed in 88, signed in 89, released in 90.
Okay. I'm going to give you this.
18 months in the public consciousness.
Here's the short headline set from 1991, and then I'm going to give you a full set a few weeks later. Edible Autopsy. Meat Hook Sodomy. Shredded Humans. Put Them to Death.
Whoa.
Covered with Sores. Born in a Casket. Gutted. And the first album, classic, A Skull Full of Maggots. So basically, 5 songs from the first album, 3 from the second. First performance ever for those new songs. And, that's like kind of their, I got to tell you, by the way, if you love Cannibal Corpse and you want to go back in the time machine, Setlist FM has you covered. Setlist.fm has full set list going back 30 plus years. Incredible for Cannibal. Then, a few weeks later, they are on tour, and the next set list, at least in terms of what's online, is the Town Theater in Lackawanna, New York, which I'm assuming is upstate New York.
Lackawanna,
whatever.
A good friend of mine's from Blauvelt, so he
fantastic.
Lackawanna, Erie, Lackawanna.
I'm sure it's a Native American, indigenous American name. So the Town Theater with an E at the end, and this is the full headline show, 13 songs, and I'm going to read them off to you now, and then you can comment. If you had seen them on this tour, you would have heard Meat Hook Sodomy to open the show. Covered with Sores, so 2 new ones right out the gate, 1, 2. Edible Autopsy, Put Them to Death. Vomit the Soul, another new one, debut of that song. Gutted once again. Born in a Casket. Mangled, Under the Rotted Flesh, another new one. Living Dissection, first performance of that one, first performance of the previous one. Shredded Humans, first performance ever of Innards Decay, closing song. They felt good about it. And the closer, A Skull Full of Maggots. So 13 songs, 7 from Butchered at Birth now, and 6 from Eaten Back to Life. Thoughts?
Jesus, what can you say? This is a band that when this is probably the moment for this lineup of the band. As we discussed a little bit last week, the lineup of this band is a bit, we'll call it pregnable. It is not a fortress, that is for certain. And we're not long before they start parting out, but this is the 5 guys that believed in what they were doing and believed in who they were. I can't imagine what it would have been like to have seen that tour. Still, this to me, this is a lot like seeing Kiss at the Hotter Than Hell stage when they are still together, they're still on it. Great set list. That is just a complete brutalizing set list, and we are Cannibal Corpse. We will burn the city down. Here we go. And then they did. No notes.
All right. If you have nothing else, I will take us home.
Please do, baby.
All right, then. You have been listening to the Glacially Musical Podcast. If you made it this far, you are indeed a real one. You are the maggots to our skull. Thank you so much for feasting on our rotted brains. And I hope you've appreciated this pod. This is our first real run of extreme metal in a long time. I'm pretty pleased about it, to be honest.
We got more coming.
We got more coming. Please give us a like and a subscribe, a rating, a follow. Anything helps. Comment. Tell us you thought we sucked. Tell us you thought we were great. It doesn't matter. We still respect you. We'll publish it. And as we say every week at this juncture of the Glacially Musical Podcast, it does not play in Peoria, and neither did Cannibal Corpse on their first tour. I don't know how to turn this off. Hold on.